and attached to our many hot take clips. The channel is fast growing with thousands of views and subscribers. Don't miss your chance to grow your business on one of the fastest growing platforms on YouTube. Join the family today. This might be risky. Email us at thismightberisky@gmail.com if interested. Hashtag Indeed, hashtag do the right thing. This Might Be Risky sponsorship package is here. Have your ad run on our live streaming episodes, linked in the video description and attached to our many hot take clips. The channel is fast growing with thousands of views and subscribers. Don't miss your chance to grow your business on one of the fastest growing platforms on YouTube. Join the family today. This might be risky. Email us at thismightberisky@gmail.com if interested. Hashtag Indeed, hashtag do the right thing.
The message is always in the cloth, the colors, the designs, the fit. Basically, pay attention, stay alert, and remember, choose your own path.
Direction, choose your own path.
Don't just wear anything. Wear garments that mean something. We got hats. We got sweatshirts. We got jackets. We even got hoodies. Let's not forget our classic tees. Direction, choose your own path.
The message is always in the cloth, the colors, the designs, the fit. Basically, pay attention, stay alert, and remember, choose your own path.
Direction, choose your own path.
Don't just wear anything. Wear garments that mean something. We got hats. We got sweatshirts.
All right. What up, though? We here. DJ Hampton Stampede. We in the building. This might be risky. Katino, what's popping? Where you been at?
Grinding, bro.
No doubt. How many degrees you got now?
I'm still working on the third one.
No doubt.
Shit like that.
Bravado, what's shaking?
All right. Thanks for inviting me up. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. How's everything?
Good.
Indeed.
I'm ready for the conversation.
Uh-oh. Hey, baby, don't start crying like a girl. Mr. White, what's good?
Yo, what's good, bro?
Hey, shit, everything's everything?
Everything, my boy.
Where you coming or going to? You dressed up and all that?
Work, man. Work, you know what I'm saying? Building a private practice, working the regular 9 to 5, then had time to change the night. So, you know.
Yeah, man.
Shit like that.
Hey, do me a favor. Ask everybody how they doing. Let me go put this nigga away.
Oh, yeah, let me teach you. You might got to watch it back to take some notes. Dana in the building. Dana, what's good? How you doing?
Oh, I like that intro. What up, Mr. White? I'm cooling. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Everything?
Everything is always everything.
All right, I see you over there shining like you got some cocoa butter on or something. I see you.
I got oily skin. I'm never going to wrinkle. It's fine.
Got you. Miss Nay, good to see you back on a Wednesday night. How you doing over there?
What's up, y'all? What's good?
Yeah, definitely good to have you back. Definitely.
Thank you.
Aisha, I ain't gonna skip over you, even though you kicked me out the family. But how you doing over
Absolutely.
there?
I actually went to your house today.
Oh yeah, they told me. You know, I was out there getting that money. Ro, I see Ro done did something different. She done got
Good evening.
evening, bro.
No.
How you doing over there, bro?
I'm good. I'm blessed. Another day.
You might got to drop the shoot your shot thing. You know what I'm saying? The boys, you might look a little different today. That light hitting, bro. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, that shit, the legendary Q. How you holding up over there, Q?
You already see the shirt. You already know what the fuck going on. You know what I mean? Y'all see the shirt. Make sure y'all get the merch. Follow me on IG, comedian _
Shit like that. Shit like that. Shit like that. Shit like that.
What's good, Adrian? How you doing?
Man, I'm blessed, man. I'm blessed. I'm excited for the show. Anytime we can have a guest, you know, it's always a good time. I'm gonna turn it back over to the Stampede.
Hey man, pretty good with the intros, man. I like it.
I'm good at everything, though. You know.
Put him in the fucking bedroom. Get him out of here. Come on.
You can't even walk straight. Now you want me to tell everybody you bow-legged, nigga? Isha, just blink, Isha.
Shit like that. Shit like that.
That boy
shit
be
like
kicking
that.
himself,
Shit
man. Damn, man. We here, man. The importance of the father. This conversation stems from a couple different things. We had a conversation. I was going to play the videos, but I figured we could just recap it and go in from there. So we had a conversation about the importance of a father. Can you replace a father figure, so on and so forth. Real Bravado, who always tones in, shows mad support. I just want to make sure that's clear. Say, yo, Hamp, in the email. Do you mind if I react to said video? A lot of people don't even do that. So I respect it, even though it is what it is, right? Fair use. You put shit out here, people can use it if they want to. And then he's like, damn, where is that clip? So I was editing. I just so happened to like get that, like I was on that part. So boom, I sent it to him. Was it like a week or so, Bravado? 2 weeks? You reacted to it? Something like that?
After you sent it to me?
Yes, sir.
About a week.
About a week, right?
Mm-hmm.
Boom. He tagged us in it. And he said what he had to say. You know what I'm saying? So I'm thinking as I'm going, like, do I want to recap it or do we just have? I think we just have the conversation. But before we get to that, I'm just asking, Tino.
It's good.
I'm just asking, man. Right? It's hypothetical. You got a chick, right? She had a threesome 2 months before you met her. But it's two dudes. Some people call it a threesome. I probably call it a train.
Bruh.
So y'all been together 3.5 years. You about to propose. Y'all putting everything on the table. She let you know 2 months before you met her, she had a threesome with two guys. Some people might call it a threesome. I call it a train.
Bruh.
You still proposing?
Hold on. All right, back this up.
Wow.
Honestly, full transparency, I doubt I would have made it that far. I doubt we would get to a point to where we're 3 years in and something in her character hasn't identified red flags enough for me to know that she is built like that in the first place. So I truly don't think I would even made it 3 years.
So you don't think people experiment?
I experiment, but I'm a true believer that you attract what you put out. And I'm also a true believer that if you set boundaries,
hold on now. You attract what you put out, huh?
You attract what you put out.
Now we've been outside together for a long time now. Goddamn. Don't make me. Hey, look.
Put him in the fucking bedroom. Get him out of here.
I was putting out trash. I was attracting trash. When I started putting out positive energy, I found my queen.
Yeah, but yeah, me too. I mean, word.
Shit like that.
But we was still wilding, my nigga. In the midst of it.
We was getting what we put out though.
But I'm saying though, we found the right chick in the midst of wilding.
We did. But that goes back to the fact of eliminating boundaries. Like there's some women that, you know, I mean, there's.
You can't even talk, nigga.
I'll just put it like this: like I was able to successfully eliminate the women that I probably would have been hearing that from.
So, in the hypothetical, you still proposing or what? Do I need to run it down again?
I'm not.
So if that come out 3.5 years later, she had a little, what some people call it threesome, I call it train,
bro.
You ain't fucking with it?
I said train, nah, bro.
After 4 years,
I'm not even gonna make it that far.
Nah. After 4 years, though,
I'm making it that far, bro. I'm not making it 4 years.
But you know you don't take shit lightly,
right?
Well, I guess that answers the question.
Right, I'm a Scorpio. Nah, we not making it that far. Because like within the course of that 3 years, honestly, within the course of the first year, something suspect would have popped off that would have made me look at her sideways. Like, all right, what's really good with you? Like, are you who you say you are? And I mean, of course, being the bruds, you know, having the circle that we have. I mean, that's why I had to leave South Carolina, move to DC, because every woman that I was dating or every woman that I was entertaining, I didn't even ask questions, and information was volunteered to me. So I couldn't have made it 3 years, bro.
All right, man. I gotta give you this though.
Put him in a fucking bedroom. Get him out of here. Come on.
You gotta answer the question.
Answer the question. You tiptoeing, nigga. Well, he said no though. He said no.
Okay.
No.
He said no. All right, man. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend. Hit that like button right now if you can. It helps the channel the most. We got some people in the building. Kev was good. Please, hey Kev, do me a favor. Drop Real Bravado's link to his channel in the chat if you don't mind. Look, lady, relax. I think it said one intro.
Put him in a fucking bedroom. Get him out of here. Come on.
Damn, you ain't never said that to me. Lionel, what's popping? Brother, we got some support in the chat too, huh? Derek in the chat. Damn, I missed that damn chat. Who else was it? My sexy is strong. Hello, what's popping? Yup. We here, man. I like it. All right. Q. So you want me to run down some questions, or you want to have the conversation? Since Bravado's a guest, I'm gonna ask you.
Run down some questions.
All right. Anymore. All right. So the first question I wanted to pose again, the importance of the father is the topic. All right. So I want to ask this question first, plain out. Can a woman raise a man? Can a woman raise a man? Here on This Might Be Risky, we understand that anything is possible, right? But we're speaking to the majority here. So what do you feel, right? If you had to stand on something for once in your life, can a woman raise a man? Mr. White, you were showing the most teeth just a few seconds ago. Go ahead.
No, she cannot. Not to be successful. A lot of times we have to learn more so by trial by error, because we don't see it. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of things that a woman can't teach a man if a father's not there to do it. We learn trial by error. You know what I'm saying? So the way the majority of us grew up, we grew up pretty much raising each other. And I look at a lot of the things that I'm just now learning at 37 or in my late, 20s, that I had to literally figure out on my own. And this is coming from somebody who had a few male role models, right, but was raised by a single mom. So she did the best she can, but I'll have to say, nah, she didn't really prepare me to be a successful man and to be able to handle all of my responsibilities.
Okay. Damn. Okay. Dana, I seen that smirk. I know your face. What you thinking?
I wasn't smirking. My answer is a solid no. I think that women can raise people to be people. They can raise boys to be good people and to be, responsible and all of that. But and I say that because there's something about having a male presence there in their life. It's like when you see the commercials of kids of the sons who are like imitating their dads, like shaving, or they putting on the shoes the way that they put on it. Like they're watching their fathers, they're watching the men in their lives, and so it's not just about what is being taught, because anybody can teach something, but just having that presence there, that masculine presence for the child to see with his own eyes and see himself in that person and imitate that. That's something that a woman can't replicate.
Okay. Anybody disagree? So everybody agrees?
If you're speaking about the majority, you already know how I feel about the outliers. But if you're speaking about the majority, yeah, it would be no. Because women have the natural nurturing kind of characteristic. So they're not gonna, I think, provide the things that a boy would need or a male would need to be a man from that aspect. But yeah, I think that it's possible.
Yeah, but you, in terms of the majority, you saying no? Okay. Bravado, you want to provide any commentary to this? I feel like everybody's in agreement, so we don't need to stick on it too much, but give you an opportunity since you new and you a guest. You feel me?
Yeah, I don't even think it's possible. I don't even think there's an outlier. It's an absolute no. Now, can a woman bring a male child? Can she teach him character, morals, all that good stuff? Absolutely, yes. Can she raise him? Can she make sure he survives to adulthood? She absolutely can. Can she provide things in him that will benefit him long term, as far as like him being a productive citizen and all that good stuff? I believe that. But as far as his malehood development, there's not a woman walking this planet that can turn a boy into a man. No matter how much nurturing you provide him, it's an impossible task. That'll be no. I have one child, I have a daughter. That'll be something crazy to me that I can teach my daughter how to be a woman. I can teach my daughter how to be a woman to me. Now that meaning cater to the needs and the wants that I want, but that's all I can do, because I don't know from an intimate standpoint, from a development standpoint, and from an internal standpoint of what womanhood actually is and what it feels like. Now I know what it looks like as far as what I want beside me long term, but the nuances of being a woman, I can't do that, and I'm not even gonna pretend like I can.
Okay, so Real Bravado Network, what are those things that you would provide to a son that a woman would never be able to provide?
And this is where me and you had
just answer the question. Yeah,
I know it's a question. Here's where me and you had the thing is, you want a list of tasks that a woman can perform, and if she performs these tasks, then she can have the same outcomes that the kid's father would have. And that's not how that works.
You watch this podcast, when I ask a question, I want to answer to the question that I'm asking.
You want a task list.
No,
you want the task list to undermine the fact that there's a profound need and a profound skill set that the father actually provides in the development of the child. So I can give you some things, but you want a task list, and I'm not going to give you a task list to try to undercut what actually fathers do, because a lot of the things in the development of manhood are things that are intangible. So when we're talking about development, like the development of woman, there are things that are intangible. So we can give you some things, but there are the intangible things that happens in real time or real experiences that the kid is going to have to go through in order to develop it to manhood. So especially about how he reacts to things, how he assesses situations, his level of responsibility, what his job is in relation to the culture, the community, and his family. Those are all different things that men bring to the table when you're talking about development of a child, including how to manage the thing that you ladies don't have a lot of, which is testosterone. There's a reason why we got all of these kids in these major cities, these 14-year-olds running up and down the streets at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning carrying assault rifles and popping off and stuff like that, or just flat out killing one another because they get angry because they don't know how to manage all of that testosterone that they got going on.
So are you speaking to emotional intelligence?
Emotional intelligence?
Yeah.
No, managing, testosterone is a chemical.
Well, I know that much.
Okay, so the chemical development is something that you got to learn how to deal with and how to recognize. And it's not about emotional intelligence or anything like that. Now, what brings it out of whack is when we got, if you were born between 1970 to current, and which puts 80% of us in single mother households, you got a lot of these guys out here with all of this testosterone, but they have female emotional reactionary imprinting. And that's what makes them dangerous, because you can't say anything wrong.
Which is exactly why the panel agreed that most women would not be able to do that.
No,
but you're saying it's completely impossible, and you failed to answer my question.
You want me to give you? Go ahead.
Yeah, real quick. So, Q, ask the question one more time.
So, what are the things that a male can provide to ensure that another male is going to be a man that a woman would not be able to provide?
Well,
and you feel like he didn't answer?
No, because he said I want a list. He refused to answer that
because that's the truth. And I told you that most of the things that come with that male development is the intangible. And the reason why I can tell you that is because, like most Black men in this country, I was not raised with my father in a home. So I didn't understand the intangibles until I met my father at the age of 30. I'm 45, so that's 15 years ago. Mm-hmm. So when I met this man, remove my father, my grandfather, his father, when I had my first conflict with my father, my grandfather, which was something stupid, it was over cutting grass. I had such a profound reaction to him, his authority, his direction, his suggestion. I started arguing with him, got very confrontational, fronting him, not really understand. And this man got frustrated with me and was like, and he looked at me, he goes, I can't deal with you. You argue like a woman. Mm-hmm. And at 30 fucking years old, do you know what that did to me at 30 years old? To hear that for the first time in 30 years? And then if I wasn't somewhat of an evil kill person and like to self-reflect, that was the first time I understood that there was something missing.
But see, in my house, I would have been told you that.
Oh, how would you know? You would have told me that if my pattern of interacting was your pattern of interacting. Most men out here that are raised in single mother households, their pattern of interacting with not only just women, but even male authority is based on how their mother interacts with them, with that authority. And my reaction was based on the way my grandmother interacted with men. I had no respect for male authority, not on the job, not in my family. I didn't realize that because all I was doing was not taking no shit off of nobody. I had a strong sense of I'm gonna tell you. I had a very strong, and a lot of that kind of behavior, which is very dangerous when you're talking about two men interacting. One man has that what I'm talking about, and the other man has what actual manhood is supposed to be with conflict. That's dangerous for the guy who doesn't have what that other guy has.
And you're
saying that other guy is not for to assess that in that guy. He's not going to do that. He's going to perceive me because he's looking at a male as a threat, and he's going to deal with what he perceives as a threat. So those are the when I talk about the intangibles. So it's not like, I got my son and he's emotional, and as a mother, I'm just going to tell him to bottle that up and just take it like a man. It doesn't quite work that way. You have to see men in real time interacting with one another, including conflict. There's a reason why there's
Well, hold on, Bravado. Let it land, because that's I think that's a good point. That last point, and Q wanted to get in, so just hold that thought real quick. So Q, go ahead. What were you about to ask or about to say?
Again, he's saying a lot of things that are the obvious when it comes to most situations. But my whole thing is, I think it is humanly possible for a woman to raise a man to be a male to be a man. And I don't think that it's going to just be, oh, because he has his father and his father went through these experiences, so that's helping him with his experiences. I personally don't think it's just that. I think that there are some women who have surrounded themselves in certain environments and are privy to certain things that they can kind of guide a male on that path. And in some ways better than some men. I really truly believe that.
I'm going to disagree with you, Q, because as y'all know, I was raised by my single father. And I've spoken many times about being a military. You want me to read it? Oh. Yeah. John the Baptist, $10. Thank you. Super Sicker. He says a woman can raise a boy to be a man age, but she can never raise him to be a man. And that is true. I have a teenage boy, 16-year-old, but I was also raised, and I'm an outlier. I was raised by a single father who was military. So my background is authoritative, structured, somewhat of discipline, like Real Bravado said. He raised us to be self-sufficient and in an authoritative situation. Early on, I knew for a fact. I mean, I just never believed that I could raise my son to be a man, because I can give him structure, but to deal with what he deals with mentally, being a young man, the things that he feels, I could never feel, because my feelings as a girl being raised by a man was totally different. So that's why I don't believe, because my father could not raise me to be a woman. I've said that before. He raised me to be self-sufficient. He can raise me to be the best employee ever, structured, organized, but he could not raise me to home into my femininity. And
real shit. Where do you feel that? What I wanted, maybe you're about to say it, so I apologize. Where do you feel your deficiencies are? Because maybe that can also help answer some of the questions we have, but just
as a mother to a boy, or just
like being raised by your father.
Oh, my deficiencies was just me understanding my femininity, understanding that I can, I guess get more with honey, where I'm talking to people a certain way, where everything, structure wise, everything and everybody's not going to, again, I was military, so everything is like a straight line. So I didn't understand that for a very long time. And when I had children, I had to tap into, each of them are very different. I can't raise them how I was raised, because they're not raised in a military environment. So I don't believe that I'm able to raise him to be a man, because his manhood relies totally on his ability to survive and provide, and being able to do it in the manner in which a man does. If that makes sense.
What is that though?
So that may be, for example, when I go out, he started asking me where I was going. And I was like, I'm the mother. Why are you asking me where I'm going? I had to get a male friend of mine told me to allow him to do that, because that is teaching him that he has to be aware of where his female is going, whether it's me, his sister, or his wife, his girlfriend. He's trying to home into his being able for protection. So he's aware about where I'm going. If I don't come back in a number of time, he's calling me like, Mommy, how far are you? So, again, at first I'm like, why are you asking me these questions? But again, I had to tap in the fact that is teaching him to be protective over his household. Even though he's the male child.
But why were you not telling him where you were going to begin with?
Well, I'm the parent. That's how I looked at it. I looked at it like I'm the parent. Why I gotta tell you where I'm going? But as he gets older, I understand why now, because that's part of his development of understanding he has to protect his household. So that's something that as a female, I don't think that we automatically think he's wanting to know this to be protected. He's, I said my first thought was, why are you asking me these questions? You disrespect me as an adult, but that's not what it was. That is not to teach.
Let me try to get it better. So you are not saying I'm going out and I'll be back?
Yeah, I would say that, but he would ask me specifically where I'm going. Like, I'll say, like you want to know where he's going, right?
Yeah.
And how long will you be back? How long is it? How long will you be back? That's not something a child necessarily asks an adult. But as he grows up, that is him homing into his natural male sense. And if I say, what you want to know that for? I'm the adult. That's like cutting that. That's like saying, you don't need to know that because I'm thinking I'm the adult when really, if I say that.
All right, Ro, come on now. You don't say the same thing 4 times. Just twice.
Hey, Ro, but don't you think that kind of proves Q's point a little bit though? Because you're raising your son in a single parent household, right? And without the presence of a father, he still has that innately and still exercises that without you prompting him to.
Right.
Just playing devil's advocate a little bit.
Right, but it is based off of how we respond. Most mothers will say, what you want to know that for? I'm the adult.
But that's not what she's asking, Ro. Where did he get that from?
Oh, he got it from his father. His father does that.
But hold on a second, Miss Ro. At the beginning of what you're, Dana, I know what you're saying, but the part that you're missing, you're talking about that, it's his natural. The part that Ro is talking about, that's different. She was talking to her male friend about this because she wanted to stunt that piece of his natural development, and her male friend told her not to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, being a mother raising, because you're the head of the home, I call it the queen mother syndrome. You queen mother, you don't want to be told what to do. You don't want to be run by nobody, no man. Understanding when male children start to develop, that is a primal instinct to protect the tribe. For that young man, his mother is part of his tribe. He's developing he's Simba, trying to develop into his father. So yes, there are natural instincts in guys, but when our women are raising these men and these boys start developing or presenting these natural instincts, mothers will go in to squash that. Now, I don't believe it's a conscious thing that they do. It's just I'm the adult. With a father, if his father's in the home and that dynamic of the relationship, and the son does that, the father's gonna say, "Yo, good. That's my responsibility, not yours. I worry about where your mama going. I worry about what you're going." But see, we're not. Our homes are unbalanced. Yeah. And the other thing, and I'll won't talk forever, but the other thing is, our young men shouldn't have to feel that way about their mothers because they shouldn't be responsible for the safety, well-being of their mothers. But that's the nature of our Black culture now.
Right. So that's what I'm saying is y'all are speaking as though y'all have literally met with, sat with, been in the home with, and interviewed every single female home to know that that is humanly impossible. The things that you're saying, it's like, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but a lot of that I actually execute in my home. So I'm confused as to what you guys mean when you say you particularly, Mr. Bravado, that's humanly impossible for any woman on the face of this earth.
Because she doesn't understand the tenets of man. Let me tell you something. The tenets of manhood. We are programmed to sacrifice for the collective. Sacrifice our resources, sacrifice our time, sacrifice our
Can I interrupt respectfully though? Because you are singing the same song and dance. You're speaking about the majority. We're gonna agree with that all day. I'm with you with that all day, right? I said that women tend to be nurturers by nature. The fathers tend to be more the disciplinarians in the home by nature. We're gonna sing that same song and dance this entire podcast. I'm speaking about those rare situations where it is actually possible that a woman can execute those things, and in some ways better than a man.
it will never be better than the man. And then the things that you think you can
So not even better than the worst
the
father.
things that the things that you feel you can execute well, you think you're executing them based on what you think your perception of what that a man is or what a man would do. You don't know because you're not that. You don't have that biological that instinctual makeup that we have. You don't have it.
Right. So
you don't have
I
it.
asked you the question, which you failed to answer. So is there any man on this podcast that would want to answer that question? Or do y'all agree with him that there just can't be a list because we really can't answer it? Because we know that when we answer it, you're gonna prove us wrong by saying yes, it's possible. Because that's what it's giving. It's giving that you don't want to be wrong.
No,
so
it's not about not want to be wrong. How about you just want to be right? You want to try to figure out a way to circumvent the role and responsibility of the fathers, and that's not what we're doing up here today.
Right.
Because
but how can we actually answer the questions that are being asked?
No, I answered the question because I answered the question. You didn't like the answer because I told you that I understand what you're doing. You want a chronological list of tasks.
So you feel like you successfully answered the question?
Yes, being a man, turning a young boy into a man is not about a checkoff list that you go down. And if I have these 10 things on these 10 tasks that I do, then I can produce.
But those are your words. I asked you specifically what it would be, and you turned it into, well, what you're looking for is a checklist. I want a fucking answer to the question, not a checklist.
Asking
me
exactly specifically everything that a guy can do. That's a list. You're looking for a checklist. There are things. There are nuances. There are things about manhood tendency and female tendency to womanhood that they're intangible things. They're only things that can be taught. There can only things that can be taught in the moment. There can only things be taught be based on the actual experience that is happening at the time. Like I told you with my grandfather, that was the first time that I actually questioned my behavior and how I respond to things and how I think about things and how I process things. That was the start of it. Doesn't mean I changed in that moment. A lot of guys in our generational collective understand, a lot of us are just now coming to this understanding. And so a lot of us are at 35, 40 years old, are just now starting to seek out what it actually means in real time for us. And we're gonna probably die not getting the full scope of it because too many of us didn't have that to have that to begin with.
So do you feel like it's difficult for you to agree with me on part of what I'm saying because you had that father wound and you have resentment towards your mother?
I don't have any resentment towards my mother at all.
I'm asking.
Yeah, and okay. I do agree with you on the aspect that a woman can raise a man with integrity. I believe she can raise a man of character. I believe she can instill morals because women are the first teachers of the child. You're the first teacher.
Mm-hmm.
So those tenets, those principles that a guy needs, you can absolutely do that. But there are other structural and behavioral components that you cannot do.
Mm.
And a lot of it is really going to come down, and especially for a lot of women that have raised their. My grandmother raised me, so she has 4 male children, and then she raised me, which makes me the 5th male in the home. Her 4 male children have been some of the most reckless men I've ever seen in my life. But her grandson, who came out of that same home, is not. So, and the reason why that is, we have different fathers. We have different fathers with different temperaments, with different ideology, with different lineage. So a lot of times when you ladies have young men that turn into something without the father in the house, that could be a genetic trait going forward. That's how I was able to try to figure out, why was I so different than the other males that were raised in the same home with the same woman? Why am I the more productive version of all of the men that she's raised? Why I'm the one that's taking care of the family.
I
Why
see.
am I, as the grandson, the head of the family instead of her oldest son?
All right, I see what's happening though. So see, you dropping a lot of knowledge, but it's a lot at the same time. I think the succinct points, then cute, because she gonna keep asking you the same question because she feel like it's not an answer because it feels a little bit like I know, I understand, I can hear it, but it feels like a little bit of a word salad. And so that's when she can be like, well, nigga, answer the question again. Real shit. So let me see if another voice of reason might make sense. Katino, what you think?
Okay.
You're on mute.
So I was raised by a single mom. She did a great job with me, but the reality is that women can't raise men to be boys. They're not men, so they can't relate with aspects of masculinity that we have to navigate. I mean, Bravado said a lot of it. Two of the biggest, I mean, I threw a list of 10 things in the chat earlier, but I'll just take two of the big ones. And this is not saying that women are incapable of doing these things, but these are two big things that, to Bravado's point, lead to the nature of a lot of men that we have to these days. A lot of the soft men that we have, or a lot of the men that we have that talk back or can't take accountability, can't handle discipline, can't handle being scolded. Two of those things are male role modeling. So a woman is not a man, so she does not have the ability to actually serve as a male role model to actually teach a boy a healthy sense of male identity. People talk about toxic masculinity, but people don't really talk about toxicity. And one of the main reasons why there's such a focus on toxic masculinity is because there's so much. I'm not gonna say so much confusion, but there's an attack on masculinity because the males are missing from the households. They're not there to actually teach boys a healthy sense of masculinity, a healthy sense of male identity. And the second one, I mean, it kind of goes to setting boundaries and discipline. The father is most times the disciplinarian. They teach boys how to be accountable, how to set boundaries. And I mean, no shade to women. I'm not saying that it's impossible, but I mean, I think a lot of people would probably agree that it's very rare to find women that take accountability, let alone that can teach accountability. Those are two big things off top that just make it very hard for a woman to teach a man, raise a boy to be a man. Like, can a woman raise a boy? Yes, a woman can raise a boy. But can a woman raise a boy to be a man? Not to be a man. Like, I love my mother. She did a great job. I think I'm a great example of a good man. But in my adulthood, there were definitely several stages of life where I was legally a man, but still operating as a boy.
Like when you and Hamp was in the streets, and y'all talking about earlier.
When we was in the streets,
Shit like that. Shit like that.
When I didn't manage my emotions, when I would go from 0 to 100. Now I can't fully blame that on my mom because my dad was a firecracker as well, and so although he wasn't in the home, I did see him wild out. But I mean, my mom, she's from the Bronx. Like, I seen her pop off my entire life. And so I popped off because I saw my mom pop off. Like, I've seen my mom fight like 5 or 6 times.
Go ahead. Who's trying to get in there?
I just want to say this to clarify, because every time I hear the guys talking, then I get their point even more why they cannot say there may be some outliers. We're speaking about mothers. So when you guys are speaking about the biological carrying mother, that goes back to what I said, the woman who is the nurturer by default. Your mother is likely going to fail you in that area because she has a maternal connection to you, which her job is just to nurture, Her job is she's going to have those emotional sides as a woman that she's not going to be able to get you on that path. That part I agree with 1,000%. But I'm talking about women. Like, I'm not talking about, this could be a stepmom. This could be almost any woman that did not raise you. It could be a grandmother or somebody like that, right? But I don't think that it's humanly impossible that no woman could ever teach a man how to be a man. And I think that, I say teach a man how to be a man, raise a man to be a man, I should say. I think that where you said,
do you have examples of success stories?
Well, mine. But
is your son a man?
Well, mine. But let me land.
Is your son a man? How old is your son?
Let me land though. I'm going off of the shit that you guys say about what y'all be doing. So let me go back to your point, the accountability piece, right? You say that women don't take accountability.
I didn't say all.
So then that you would be making part of my point.
Not necessarily.
Because in one breath you're speaking at absolutes.
I pointed out is the male role model aspect and healthy male identity.
Okay, but sir, in one aspect you're speaking at absolutes. And then you're going to say, well, I don't think that it is not possible that a woman can't do. So pick one.
I didn't say that.
You never said that at any part of this broadcast.
Said what? That it's impossible? That
it is possible for a woman to do one thing, that it is possible.
I said it's possible for a woman to raise a man to grow up, but not to be a healthy man. Okay. It's a difference. Like, you can be a man and not be a man. A woman can raise a man, but he can still be a boy.
You can be a grown up.
A man operating as a boy.
Right. I don't disagree with that, but I think you niggas, and this is no disrespect to y'all, I think you niggas are speaking from the point of y'all personal experience where y'all failed. I'm talking about I believe there can be success with that. I just think it's hard for you guys to imagine it because
of course you believe that.
Because of your own experience, though, right?
You raised JC to be a man
because of your own experience.
Miss Q.
So he gonna do the obvious. He gonna ask a woman who probably birthed a child, which as if he didn't hear what I said.
Q.
Gonna be no.
Hey Q, let me ask you a question. Where can you point to in math throughout human history where single mothers have developed the best men?
So that's his feminine side coming out, because I just called that out. So did you just ask a woman to birth a boy if she could raise him to be? I just said that.
Wow.
I just said that. So what point would you be proving, sir?
Bravado. So I asked the question, how old is your son?
I'm not talking about him being grown into a man. I'm saying the things that you guys implement in the home.
You have
raising that particular individual. That's what I'm currently doing.
Do you have an example of a man that was fully raised by a woman and he's a healthy man?
Sir, I don't. I'm using me as an example, and I'm pretty sure I'm not the only person.
Ain't a man.
But you ain't no man.
I know that, which is my point. That's my argument, is that a woman can't raise a boy to be a man.
I have a question. Most of the guys on the panel, like most of y'all sound like y'all were raised by single mothers, though, and y'all would consider yourself successful, right? Or single women.
Nay, 80% of us were raised by single mothers. So there's a good, and so successful, that's all relative. But when you talk about, are we functioning adults that are responsible? Yes. Yeah. But we're talking about the tenets of manhood. It's in part about your identity.
So you didn't know your identity your whole life because you weren't raised by a man?
You don't. Let me tell you something. And I can speak to this a little bit more specifically because because my life is in two stark contrasts. Before my father and after my father. Before my father, I had no idea why I was the way I was, why I did what I did, why I behaved the way I behaved. When I met him, I understood. I learned. I had a better sense of who I was as an individual. I became a more better contributor to my community because there was no confusion about why I was doing what I was doing or who I was, because I had that link had been put back together to a certain degree. There's some things There's some things
That's
that will never be redone because of the time spent, because I didn't meet the man until I was an adult at that point. But it's helped. I think I've improved way more with his involvement in his coaching. Now it's coaching and mentorship with my father. I don't think we'll ever have the father-son bond, whatever, but he's a man that I admire, you know, and my grandfather, who I still have, which is his father, is a man that I admire. And a lot of the wisdom that I should have gotten earlier on, I'm receiving it now. And I can take some of those and apply it to my life, apply it to my woman, apply it to the women of my family that I was raised up under.
Go ahead, Nate. You had a follow-up?
Yeah, I was just saying, it sounds like, so you really weren't a man until you met your father. Like you felt like you weren't raised to be a man.
We never
had no knowledge of how to be a man until you met your dad. And then you already kind of knew, in a sense, who you were because you were raised until you were 30. But you're saying from 30 to now, the age that you are, you know how to be a man.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing, Nate. Believe it or not, a lot of men, when there's no father in the home or no father present, consistently present, most of us don't even think about manhood. It's not even a thought for us. It's not a thought until that man is in your space, in your life, interacting. Then it starts to you start to understand, or when you start looking at what has not gone right in your life up to that point. I couldn't keep a job at one point. I mean, I'm educated, talented, but I didn't know how to interact on the job appropriately most of my early in my career, most of my supervision was a man. That was World War III, IV, and V. I didn't see an argument that I didn't like during that early time between, I would say, 20 to 30.
So it's just more so the rage. It wasn't
not knowing how to interact with a male authority and how to navigate that, even because how can I provide for a family? And thank God during that time I didn't have one. How can I provide for a family when every time I walked out my door in the morning, my supervisor did something or said something or talked to me in a way that was unfamiliar to me, and I popped off and lost my gig? Just think if I had a woman and a child in the family to talk to raise.
Can I get in there?
I couldn't be what I am now.
Okay.
Go
ahead.
Drop.
It just sounded like a father wound, but go ahead.
John the Baptist with the $10 super chat. As a woman, how can you teach a boy to recognize his rage due to his body producing testosterone, and how he needs to manage the rage without killing that rage? That kind of speaks to kind of a little bit what Ro was talking about. Go ahead, Mr. White.
All right. So the thing is, the reason you are not a man. That's why
I know this, Adrian.
But that's why you don't get it. You keep saying, give us lists. No matter how hard you try, you can never do what we do. Period. Right? Like you told him not to give a list. He still named several things when he talked about the testosterone point, when he talked about the intangible things, even the example that Ro gave when it was after the fact, right? So because she got that after the fact, it still was some damage caused, and then she had to come back. But had a man been there present, that would not have even happened. And so the thing is, you're not going to get it. I'm not saying you're not doing the best job you can, but you're not a man. So you're not going to realize it. So you're never going to agree. That's why you're sitting here trying to reach for, you mean to tell me it's not even impossible like the one? No, it's not. And that's the end of it. No matter what any man says, you're going to keep coming back to this point. And then y'all talking about, because it's father wounds and this and that. It's really y'all inability to listen. Because if all of the men up here, well, the majority of us who were raised by single moms, if we're all sitting here telling you guys as men, no, it's not possible, but y'all are going to sit here and say it is possible, y'all don't even understand how we think. Y'all don't understand how we move. That's why it's so much confrontation, and men and vice versa, right? But that's why we're not sitting here saying, hey, we can teach a woman how to be a woman. But it's that arrogance that y'all have, that y'all really think is possible. And it's not, and y'all won't even accept it. Y'all just have to feel like no matter what a man could do, a woman could do it in such a degree. Whether we can articulate it or not, just accept the fact that it cannot be done. and let that be that. No more than a man can teach a daughter, no matter what he does, to how to be a woman. It's not possible. Let it go. This is one thing that y'all can't have.
Mr. White.
It's
Can I
possible.
say
It's just
this?
difficult. But
Can I say that everybody on the podcast,
Y'all making it difficult.
That, in general, most, right? So at what point did any nigga up here who's spoken yet actually say something that disagrees with what I said, other than I can't do it? Y'all talking about most women. I'm agreeing with y'all.
Mr. White.
Hold on. The only reason why I say most is because that's the only thing y'all would be receptive to. I try to meet y'all where y'all are at sometimes, right?
Yeah,
so sometimes there's no point in going all the way. I try to communicate in a way that it'll be received. So that's the only reason why I use most here and there. But Bravado, he's right. Y'all can't do it. And so if y'all not going to even receive it when I try to meet you where you at, I might as well stay all the way to the right.
But nobody else on here saying that they can. So who is the y'all? That's my point.
So
nobody else up here is saying they can't.
The key, hold on 1 second. The key to it, Q, is that man is gonna have deficiencies because he doesn't have a father, right? And so that's the key.
Have those same deficiencies, right? With a father who's also his best, which is kind of what I think Miss Nay was trying to point out with real bravado.
Say it again. Sorry,
he would also have some of those same deficiencies with a man who is also doing his best.
And so that's what we're saying. He won't have those same deficiencies. There's going to be automatic deficiencies because he doesn't have a father, right? If a father makes a mistake or two, that's different from him not having a father. Those deficiencies they're going to happen regardless.
Okay.
Like when I coach football, just to give you maybe like a bigger, so 100 kids on the football team, I can almost instantly tell the kids that don't have a father. Their mannerism, they suck their teeth, they put their hands on their hips, shit like that. It's just a different type of nigga. They complain more. They want to play offense, soft shit. Like they just act a little bit different.
I agree 100%. And I want to pull this back a little bit so that we don't get lost in that father shit, that Mr. Bravado shit. Are we talking about a father or a man? Because you guys keep saying a woman can't, but I'm talking about even a man raising a boy, right? So Mr. Bravado's like, fuck a father figure, fuck a stepfather.
We ain't there yet. Don't.
Father,
that's a different topic. That's a different topic. God damn it.
Okay, let's go. I'm ready.
Let me jump in real quick. Good evening, everybody. What's happening? Sorry, I was late. I'm sorry I was late. I was being a father to my daughter. We'll get into that later.
See Isha looking at you. She don't like when niggas is late, but go ahead. Isha, let him.
You can't knock. I told the boss I was gonna be late. Checked in. What time I text you this morning, Ham?
Fucking 6:45.
I checked in bright and early. You know what I'm saying? I ain't that type of party. So I'm sitting here and I hear everybody's points, and I think that this is where the backlash comes in, because I believe, I mean, I'm willing to be called on my shit, but I think I sit in a place of an outlier, yo, and I'm just being real on that. I heard my man Cutino say a man can be a man and still not be a man. I don't think that's true. Mr. Bravado mentioned something. He said that the tenets of manhood. I would like for us, the fellas, could we list what those tenets are? What do you identify as manhood? I'm not. That's a different question. It's a different question. What Q said. Identify what manhood means to you.
See what happened when you come late.
I missed that.
Want to list it?
Yeah. So when Q initially asked the question, Real Bravado kind of headed that off at the pass, because he's saying, okay, if you can't list it or you can list it, then you think it's achievable. When the truth is, so much of it is intangible.
No, I heard that. But what I'm saying is that was the question was list the things that specifically a man can do that a woman can't. That was more so Q's question. I'm just asking in general about manhood, period.
Well, that would have been my question.
Authority, strength, provider and protector, leadership, integrity, courage, compassion and empathy, respect for others, self-reflection and growth.
So to counter. Okay, and I respect all of those. Do you believe who you are encompasses all of those qualities?
Absolutely.
Mr. Bravado, do you believe who you are encompasses all those qualities?
On most days.
Okay, respect that. Hey, Mr. White. Do you believe who you are?
But I don't agree with his list, right? So I'm gonna say something in terms of a man and how we grow through things and the testosterone, how we see life, how we manage our emotions, to be able to process things as a man. Only another man can help me do that. You can't do that without having no experience in that. And no woman knows what it's like to be a boy and to go through puberty and to manage those thoughts and to look at how they see the world. But we can process that because we've been through those things, right? So if you have to experience in order to get the feedback and education needed in the tools in order to work yourself through that. So how can you teach me that if you haven't been through that? Right, that's for anything to be successful, and nobody can't teach you something that they have not learned how to do. So the integrity and the courage thing, yeah, women can definitely play a role in all of those things. But me being a man, going through life changes, how can you help me as I navigate that?
Mr. White,
you don't understand what it's like. You're not built like me.
I was trying to say earlier, Mr. White, no other culture is having this discussion. Because no other culture of women aren't out here trying to undermine or undercut or replace their men.
Wow.
That's not on purpose.
I'm keeping it a buck.
You just said it wasn't a conscious thing, so now you're making it seem like we're doing it on purpose.
I did not say you're doing it on purpose.
But you
did.
You just said that we are trying to undercut. That is doing it on purpose.
Not necessarily, because you can undermine yourself. You can undermine yourself. You can undermine your family. You can do all of these things not on a conscious behavior, especially when the programming and the ideology has been passed on throughout generations. We're having this discussion because we've had 50 years of a fractured family unit. And with our women being the heads of houses for the last 45 of those 50 years. So our women's perspective is generational perspective, because all our women have seen is their mother at the head of the house. And these women are turning out okay. So the men must be turning out okay. So it's a very, very tunnel vision way of looking at things. And when you don't have the men in the house or the men in the house historically to balance that out, then we're having conversations like this. We're the only culture that's doing this crap. And we're the only ones we're the only culture that's losing at family. We're losing at family. We're losing at finance. We're just losing at life because we're not together. And we're having these conversations, which I think the conversations are needed, but we are, to a degree, our ladies won't accept that there is a natural order of things. And the thing is, our women historically has always been side by side with their men. Our women have had a position in the family that no other woman has had throughout history. You almost had a parallel positioning with your men throughout the family, and that's not been good enough. So now we're going to undermine the men. We're going to undercut the men.
So we start asking difficult questions, and now all of a sudden you want to talk about history and other cultures.
You have to talk about history in order to talk about why we even having these conversations to begin with.
I think
because no one else point out any other group that's having these that are having these conversations about fatherhood. None.
Right, but it seemed like you having difficulty answering the difficult questions, so you would rather go.
I do not have.
Can we get back to what
you want to
talk about though?
Miss Q, you want a list? We're not gonna give you a list.
But she asked the same question.
We're not gonna undercut We're not gonna undercut fatherhood under here.
He was undercutting. You see what I'm saying?
We're not gonna do it.
Did he not ask for? And he specifically said, "Listen, you put those words in my mouth."
Because that's what you asked for. I'm not gonna pretend just
because
I don't want a list. Your question implied that you wanted a list.
But he
asked what the question implied.
No, I think she's referring to Chief.
My list wasn't necessarily about what a man can do differently than a woman can. As it pertains to what we've listed as manhood so far. My mother taught me all of those things.
But Chief, let me land. That's what I'm saying is maybe I worded the question the wrong way and it threw them off. Your question is that, so the answer to your question is all that I was looking for in mine.
Hey Chief, I got a question.
But now Adrian
yes, sir.
Did you play sports?
No, but hold on, y'all. But the thing is, it's not a list. That's the point. The things that it's not a list of things. What I gave you, That's it. Argue that. That's it. To navigate as I transition from a boy to a man with my thoughts, with my feelings, with all of my emotional changes and things that I'm experiencing. I got a boner, Mom. How you going to help me with this? There's a lot. That's what it is. It has nothing to do with encouragement and discipline. But it does, because when I come in and I speak versus when my wife or a woman speaks, it's totally different. But we're not going to list those things because, yeah, you can have a woman with a deep voice. So that's, I think, what Mr. Bravado is saying, because the list that y'all come up with, women could do those lists too. But you can't show us how to be something that you have no experience and no education on how to be. You can't do that. Yeah. So it's no list. You can't do that because you have no experience with doing it.
And you're saying there's not one father or one male that would fail at any of that?
No, I didn't say fail. What I'm saying is we at least have a chance. Y'all have no chance at all because we still experience it on some level.
You got it.
Don't.
You got it, Mr. White.
I'm not saying all
we gonna have to agree to
successful at doing it, but at least they got a shot if they got a father in the home. Stats prove that. The very men y'all complain about was raised by single women. But we're gonna say, hey, they got a chance, and it don't work like that.
Right. So that's another question, though, Hamp said, because we can't talk about if the father being in the home is important. So that's a whole nother question.
Yeah, we're gonna answer the question. I think, but the key, I think, the just on Mr. White's point, when Chief asked that question, he's asking it genuinely, but the outcome of it feels disingenuous to me because all those traits are gonna be transferable. Like, why wouldn't she tell you to have integrity or be honest, right? And all those other things. That's why the list it's always gonna be like, oh well, shit, a woman could do that too. So given that answer, we already know it's like a setup a little bit.
So,
but no, I would never say, a woman could do that too. That's what y'all want to hear is this feminism bullshit. That if you can be brawn, I can be brawn. If you can do this, I can do that. Anything you can do, I can do better. Nobody's saying
no, that's not what I said either, though. So, like I said, I
just want to be clear on that.
Well, let me ask you a question. Like, so do you think? Yeah, well, because I want Chief, you can go, and then Katino wanted to ask you a question too. But like, if I say, hey, Q, can you teach your son integrity? Can you teach him to be honest? Like the stuff that Katino did, you can say yes. Is my point. And it was like, see, women can do it. That's all I'm saying.
No, I just say, see, I can. But go ahead, Chief.
So I double back real quick just because I remember Hamp, you sent us the link about Mr. Bravado and the conversation and him.
Recapping
podcast. So recapping our podcast. So I watched it, and he was giving us all the smoke about the niggas up or the gentleman on the stage not answering, not being able to list anything, not being able to say anything. Look at these dudes up there. And when I talked about kind of like what Mr. White was saying, being an example, just be like things that we do, our kids, our young men emulating us and being able to do those type of things. That wasn't a good enough answer for him. So I'm running it back to him because she gave us shit on his recap about not giving a list or not answering the question of these women. So I just put it back on him.
That's not what I said on my recap. I said that you guys are being inartful in the way that you were answering the questions. Meaning when they started talking about what a man can do to teach you, I started talking about pissing. That's what I was talking about.
I didn't start talking about. I specifically referenced emulating the behavior you want a young boy to see.
Right.
No, about treating a woman for specifically, Chief. That's what you said.
But the conversation devolves into teaching them how to pick. That has nothing to do with anything. That's what I was talking about. Not the fact that you weren't answering the question. And it was from that stream that I understood when I was listening. When I was watching this, and I was at work that day, but when I was watching that stream, I said she wants a checkoff list because she wants to be able to continue to invalidate the importance of what fathers provide to the development of their sons.
Well, the reason that came up, Mr. Bravado, is because typically when asked this question off the podcast with other niggas who are not as, I guess, smart as y'all, that would be the first go-to that they say. It's simple shit like that. So that's why that came up in that conversation. And it was to say, is this what you guys define as being able to teach a man to be a man? And if I remembered, they actually said no. So it seemed like you were pulling shit just to be able to have arguing points, but none of the shit that, I think you were under either a misunderstanding or you were trying to do some really good work for your podcast. But
real quick, fellas, how old are we when we stop being raised?
Honestly, I think that depends on your circumstances.
No, and I don't doubt that, but I'm saying, so you would consider your mom getting you to 21 and getting you into college and out of the crib, or you said what, 15?
Maybe
so
16.
I started working to help my mom at 15.
Okay, so I'm listening to Mr. Bravado, and whether you believe it or not, we have extremely similar circumstances. I met my father at 31. My grandmother had 5 sons. I'm like literally the one in the family who made it, all that good stuff, whatever. Yeah. So we have a very, very similar story. But I asked that because we talk about how women can't raise men to be men. But if Hamp says the age is 15 years old, that the mom or, we're considered raised, at that point, where are we getting these lessons from? Do you consider your football coach raising you? Do you consider, your peers raising you? You dig what I'm saying? So now we're taking all these manhood traits, we're getting them from our cohort. These people aren't necessarily raising us. We're observing how Mr. White interacts with his people.
It goes back to the point, though. The point is, so I think that goes back to let me reword it. So that goes to if a male figure is missing, there are things that you can't get from a woman that you have to get from a man someplace. Like even till this day, I mentor young boys. And Hamp's point was, he can tell instantly which boys, at the football field have a man present and don't have a man present. In these rites of passage programs and girls and boys club, like you walk in these places, you can instantly tell just by the demeanor and the mannerisms and the way that these boys are acting, who has male figures in their life versus who don't have male figures in their life.
I just sit in a spot. I sit like right in this conundrum where like I see it from both sides and I'm living both sides, but I have to ask you, do you believe that some of your best qualities came from your mother?
A lot of my best qualities came from my mother, but there were things that my mother could not teach me in terms of how to truly be a man. There are things that I probably did. Like there are things that we incorrectly learn from our peers that we think is manhood. Mm-hmm. And that's not manhood. But then when you actually really have a true mentor or male figure, you learn those things. Like, although my mother raised me, like, don't get it twisted. Like it's not like my dad was non-existent. Like I've known my father my entire life. He just hasn't always been the best of a role model, but there are several things that I've learned from my father that my mother couldn't teach me. There are things that I learned from, both from my grandfathers, God rest their souls. They both, one of them died when I was very young. There's things that I learned from my mother's oldest brother that like my mother couldn't teach me. My mother couldn't, I'm not saying that this is manhood, but my mother couldn't teach me how to tie. My uncle taught me that.
No, I get so and Q's laughing because tying a tie is equivalent to the pissing thing. I can hear that, you know what I'm saying? But
I know why she's laughing. She taught my son how to tie a tie, not men.
About professionalism, when we start talking about etiquette, business etiquette, how does a man walk in a room? How does a man shake a hand? Those are things that your mother or a woman, they're not going to innately think to teach you that. You grab a man, you have to, and you shake that hand.
I have to disagree with that. My mom taught me how to shake a hand, bro.
I know that.
Interlock the section of the hand, squeeze time. This was
so not going to innately.
No, okay, maybe you're right. Only thing I'm saying is there are a lot of qualities I possess that came from my mom's. And I met my father at 31 years old. At 31 years old, he say what?
And which ones did you not get from your mother that completed you as a man?
I can't honestly pinpoint what those specific examples would be at this moment. But I don't attribute. I just maybe because I can't think of which parts of my masculinity I attribute to having a certain man in my life. My grandmother had five sons, all of them alcoholics. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
can I ask you a question, Tino? You said that you mentor young boys, right? Mm-hmm. How do you know how to mentor young boys if you were raised by a woman?
I had male figures in my life.
So you feel like those qualities from those male figures helped you to know how to mentor?
That, and also lessons learned. Like as you grow, as you mature, you identify, we identify the areas where we failed, or we can identify the areas where things were wrong. So like, and just even from a pair perspective, like Hamp can even say this, like people may think that the bros that we're full of shit. I'm sorry for saying that, but people may think that, but we're not. there's several times where the bros, we're literally sitting around having this exact conversation and talking about the devastation in the Black community because of the broken household, and identifying ways that we can address that. Like right now alone, between 10 bros that I'm cool with, we have 3 rites of passage programs, and by the end of the year, I'm starting another one. And we're taking the lessons learned and things that like we knew that we didn't get right, so that we can teach these young boys to be better men and be better than we were. Like we're trying to give them a head start.
But Tino, that's not. Yeah, you answering. Yeah, we still full of shit, but we do good shit too. I get it. The kid, like, but the one thing that a woman can't do, right? Not this tie shit, like Bravado said. I'll give him that. You know what I mean? What a boner is, all that corny shit. But the fear, them sons don't fear you. What you say don't resonate the same. So when we are doing the mentoring, the boys that don't have fathers, they do a lot of talking back, a lot of standing up, because they don't know what it's like to get the shit slapped out of them by a man. To have a man really stand over and be like, my nigga, I'll beat you up for real. It's a different ball game when your father comes and tells you what to do as opposed to your mom. And I mean this with pun intended. Your mom too pussy. When you get 15, 16, 17, get the fuck out of here, mom. I remember my mom hit my brother with a broom and his shit broke. We laughing, nigga, it's over, ma. You can't tell nobody what to do ever again. And he the youngest nigga. Like that shit, I mean, he built, but you know what I mean? Like it, like that fear, that's something that is intangible that you feel from a man.
So
and then it's natural too.
I got a question for Q.
If I really knew my life for real, I'm still in the game. So go ahead.
I just have a question, Q. What is it that what do you feel a man is? I guess that would be the question. What do they define? What are they to you?
I'm saying, bro, everything that these guys are saying that creates that structure,
I can't do.
But I do though.
There's no way you instill fear, nigga. There's no way.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna shut up. Ask him his name.
Ask her what?
That question.
We ain't gonna make her lie on the podcast.
I'm not.
Well, how do you?
I'm not gonna lie
right now on the spot.
So how do you view a man, period, and his identity in life?
I think that men are the strong, and if they're doing it right, because there are a lot of bitch ass niggas out here. If they're doing it right, they are the strong masculine figure in life, period, right? So when we talk about balance, there is a need for a male, right? So I think that when I speak, all of that gets lost because all people hear is, oh, she's saying a man is irrelevant. She's saying, no, I'm just saying what I can do.
Right, but I'm asking what, because really depends on.
No, she knows the men's value. The arguing point is that it's impossible for a woman. And Q's like, I'll be damned. There has to be outliers.
Because not one time have you guys said something that I'm like, okay, right there, I have to say I don't have that. I haven't given.
The fear thing, you telling a ghost story about that.
I'm dead ass.
How old are the boys? If you don't like, what's the age range? What grade? That's better.
I got a 15-year-old, a 13-year-old, and I think hers is 11.
That 15-year-old, he can make you a hula hoop. I'm trying to tell you.
Mine is 6'2", and I sometimes have to be like,
and mine is her height.
Because it goes back to the point that I said earlier. The moms, you guys are the ones who carried them. There's certain shit that y'all just not gonna do. Y'all not gonna be able to do. I've been saying that this whole time.
Right, but I guess my thing is how you value the man is how you'll interpret based off of what the young man needs.
No, not at all. Not me. So I'm saying when Chief says he's the outlier of men that were raised by single moms, I'm the outlier in that example that I'm giving about a woman who could actually do that, right? But I just think you guys don't want to entertain that conversation because you're thinking from the lens of yourself, from where you see yourself in your own personal experiences. And I think that's across the board.
Do you sit down with your boys and ask them how they feel about how are they able to have conversations with you about how they feel in life and things that they go through daily? Do you have those conversations with them?
Mm-hmm.
And so are they open enough to tell you, like, you know, like mine, like when I start to pop off, he'd be like, mommy. like stop. You know what I'm saying? So are they okay with doing that with you?
No, because I don't have that same role that you have.
What role do you have?
It's definitely not the one where I'm coming across all right, whatever y'all be doing.
No. I'm just saying when I'm in somebody, if I'm not getting my customer service and it's not done right, or if I see something wrong, I'll say something. And so for him as a boy, he's like, "Mommy, don't do that. Like, don't do that."
Mommy.
Well, mom or mom.
No. What do you say? You say mom or mommy?
You probably
mom.
But bro, you probably function in your femininity so much that if you act like that, that comes across as embarrassing. Like that's outside of your character for you.
Well, Rose probably more stoic because she was raised by her father. So when he does it, he's like, "Yo, mom, chill," whatever the case is. O'Shea Lennox, the hobbyist with the $2 super chat. What's popping? Essence of a man cannot be replicated by a woman.
By most women, I agree with that.
Yo, man, interesting.
I'm gonna dance all night.
Interesting. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend. Hit that like button right now if you can. That helps the channel the most. I feel like that one went long as hell, but I think we got a lot of good info out of it. Mr. White, Q versus the fellas. Who won that one except for Chief?
I don't count.
Man, I won. The fellas said, I don't know what the hell Chief talking
Shit like
about.
that.
Where his mom really a handshake. Nah, I got a whole. We gonna.
My mom taught me to shake. My mom taught me to shake a man's hand before my senior night banquet. When I was getting no. You try to say my mom didn't teach me shake a hand. I like my man Catino. I saw my mom. My mom told you sit your black ass in the car. Went in the club, beat a bitch up, came back and got in the car. We drove home.
Nigga, that has nothing to do with man.
What I'm saying is I've seen all of the things.
This is what I'm saying. The list that y'all are talking about and giving to do with manhood. So I'm disappointed in you. But we're gonna have a chat.
What you mean?
We're gonna have a chat.
I told you I don't disagree with y'all saying. All I'm saying is I stand firm in every ounce of my manhood.
We will have a discussion, and then after we have it next week, I need you to be like, "Yo, after I chopped it up with Mr. White,
nah,
I'm not even the exception."
You're not about to sit here and try to discredit the thing my mom gave me. We're not doing that. That's definitely not what we're doing.
We're gonna have a discussion.
I'm just going to this right now. Let me read this. John Bass with the $5 super chat. I am so encouraged that the majority of women on this panel tonight is not verbally supporting Q's points. So I had this question: is the mother and the father of equal importance to the child's development? And then I have this question: can a biological father be replaced by other male figures? Those are my two questions. But it seemed like we really at this question: do we have a problem? So I feel like this is where it is. So since they just got hot real quick, Mr. White and Chief, Mr. White, you got something to say to that nigga?
Hey, watch how you speak to me in front of company, dog.
My bad.
Nah. So honestly though, because of how
don't soften it now, nigga. You didn't know this was a thing. Don't get soft on me now.
No. But the conversation is gonna be longer. But we can attempt to have it now. Okay, so Chief.
Yes, sir.
What did your mom teach you? How did your mom teach you to be a man?
I'm just going based off the integrity and the standards that I uphold as a man. Just the all-encompassing respect and gentleman-like qualities and all the things that come from this how to be a good human. I attribute that to my manhood, though. Y'all don't do that.
That's not what it is. That's a good human because women have the same qualities and traits.
Okay, so what? I'm confused as your
point.
So
if a man and woman is different, so you can't say, like you said it correctly. She gave you the tools needed to be a good human, to be a good adult, not to be a man, which is different than a female. So again, what did your mom do that specifically helped you to become a man that is separate from what a woman could do?
What do you mean that is separate from what a woman can do?
There's things that only there's qualities and there's certain things that you can do only as a man to be a man that do not apply to being a woman.
I don't
right?
disagree with that.
Or do you feel like that's that's exactly the same?
I don't disagree with that. But what I'm telling you, there wasn't a man in my world to have those. I learned from trial and error and from observing, sitting back, watching you doing your thing with your people or whatever, and watching other people feel like the trauma that I've endured has kind of molded my manhood, if that makes sense.
Right. So you learn through trial and error and through experiences on how to be a man specifically. So it wasn't your mom. Your mom equipped you to be a successful human being with character, with structure, with discipline, those things. She didn't teach you how to specifically be a man.
Okay, so then let me put it like this. There's not a man that I can point to in my life that taught me how to be a man, which is why I give the credit to my mother. Does that make sense? Can I stand on that?
That makes sense too. Yeah, that makes sense too. However, you learn to be a man through trial and error. Right, like you said, through watching things, through reading, through education, through sitting back and exploring some of the dumb decisions you made. But in terms of you being through life, your mom didn't help you with that. She gave you some foundational tools for you to be a successful adult, but not to be a man.
Those foundational tools are what I apply, what I attribute to my manhood. Those basic,
right, but it's the same thing but it doesn't differ for a woman.
Despite what Hamp might say, I was shook at my mom. My mom didn't play that shit, dog. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you telling me you gonna huff and puff like I'm not supposed to be scared of my mom?
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying
moms
is,
went up top of my ass too. Like
what I'm saying is, this is the thing. The points that I'm making, you are agreeing with, right? Because you said one.
Mike Brown with a $5 super chat. Nay would prefer Q to raise her boys rather than their dads to be a success in society 5 to 10 years from now.
So he said wouldn't.
Damn.
They wouldn't prefer. Sorry. Wouldn't.
Right. So I'm about to make this statement, and then just let me know if I'm right or wrong.
Okay.
You said initially too. You just said it. She equipped you to be a successful adult, right? The things that she equipped you with are not specific to a man, right? In terms of integrity, the discipline, the work ethic, all of those things are not specific to a man. The things that you learn specifically to a man were things that you learned trial and error, was things you had to actually go through.
I don't disagree, but if you, I told you I couldn't specifically pinpoint an attribute of manhood that directly came from my mom. You give me something that directly came from a man, and I'll let you know if that came from my mom or that was one of my trial and error process.
Well, so this is the thing. I can't because I learned through trial and fire because I wasn't raised with my father in the home. That's the point.
We all fucked up.
That goes to show that a woman then can't do it. So now we can do it as fathers because we learned the majority of our own. But had our father been there to walk us through all of the different changes of managing our emotions, our feelings, the fear aspect that Hamp put in, so you know you're not going to come reckless. It's one thing to respect your mom, but it's different if you got your dad standing in the crib, he's 6 feet, like all of those things matter.
I'm not down any of that, but my dad ain't. I met my father at 31 years old. The nigga told me the reason he wasn't around because he told my mother not to have me. So he ain't the type of nigga that could have guided me in that direction. You dig what I'm saying? So
right. Well, you already agree with me. Next people, you already agree. You can't call
hey, Mr. White, my mom's a beat your ass.
How about that? She might.
All right, Dana, you got a question for these two? Hold on, let me read it. John the Baptist with the $5 super chat. John, we appreciate the love, bro. Listening to Chief, you are a good dude, but I'm concerned with your conversation and view.
I mean, we can agree to disagree. You know what I mean? I stand firm in mine though.
Go ahead, Dana. You got a question for them?
Yeah, I just wanted to say something to Chief real quick. I think that it speaks volumes. And it speaks to the point of the other men on the panel that you can't differentiate between the things that you learned that made you a good human being and the things that you learned that made you a man. All of these things that you learned from your mother, right? You said you attribute the things that you learned from your mother to your manhood as well. But there should be a clear differentiation as to what made you a good human being and what made you into a man. Does that make sense?
No, I completely agree. But if you had to define what you want in a good man, everything, all those qualities my mother taught me would be on that list.
But those are the same qualities of a good person.
Yeah, you're not, there's no distinction. But so here's the thing, though, Chief, because to Mr. White's point, you did note that there were some deficiencies because those are the things that you learned through trial and error. But you haven't identified what those deficiencies were that your mom was not able to teach you that you learned on your own. But you're saying two different things. Like, is it
do we all not have deficiencies that we learn through the process? Like,
but we're talking about deficiencies specific to being a man and coming into manhood.
I don't know what those deficiencies were. Then
what did you learn through trial and error?
I mean, it's specific treatments in regards to how I treat a lady. Certain things like that, where moms maybe might not have had that conversation on dating, or like, it's just, I can't really give you a specific example, but I just know I attribute a lot of my manhood to the things I learned from my mom. Like, so along
those lines, let's, for the sake of the conversation, let's say there are things that, about your manhood and about becoming a man and being a good man. Are you saying that are you on the Q train? Like, there's nothing that your mom could, like, she didn't miss anywhere?
No, because I do firmly believe that the presence of a man is much different in the household. Like, just in terms of, like, mom's trying to get the baby to go to sleep, I go on, hey, get into bed. It's literally the switch. So that presence is a lot different. For kids to look back and be able to emulate that masculine presence in the household speaks volumes as far as it goes to curate their manhood. But again, those are traits that my mom had. That she had that swag when she walked in. And mom said, "Shut the fuck up." Everybody was quiet.
Telling you to shut the fuck up different than your dad to shut the fuck up, because it would be different for me. My parents were both disciplinarians in my household, but my mom disciplining me and telling me to be quiet or to do something was totally different than my dad telling me to be quiet or to do something. So even though you received that from her, you have to acknowledge that it wouldn't be received the same way as it would have been from your father. No?
Correct. No, okay. I definitely acknowledge.
That's all I got.
Okay. Word. John the Baptist with the $5 super chat. Boys should never be afraid of their mother after 12 years of age.
No, I respected her though.
Yeah, that's what you meant. But he just trying to clarify the point. All right. So should we what's up, man? You Nay, I know you had a couple questions for Katino when he was up here and all that. Did you get him good enough, or you want that nigga up here with some smoke?
No, I think he actually answered. That's why I went back off. But I like that super chat. That was it. Mike Brown said. Can you put that back up? That was funny.
What did he say? What Mike say?
He said I wouldn't want Q to. Okay, Nay wouldn't prefer Q to raise her boys rather than their dads to be a success in society 5 to 10 years from now. Actually, I would always prefer their father. I have 2 baby dads. I'm gonna be honest. I would prefer that, but I'm gonna be honest. They're not doing the best that they can. So somebody else can step in and hold that role. And Q has done a great job helping me out. I've had one actually say that me and Q got it. he told Q, he said,
put him in the fucking bedroom. Get him out of here. Come on. Put him in the fucking bedroom. Get him out of here.
I would prefer, obviously, but if that's not the case, they're not being a good father, then I'm going to prefer who would do the better job. And if that's Q, then it's Q.
Man, them niggas ain't shit, man.
They're not.
Damn. All right.
That's a whole nother raised by their fathers to be men.
I'm sorry?
What?
Were their fathers raised by their
so both of them were raised with both their mother and father in the home. Both of them.
Were their fathers good fathers?
Well, one kind of taught their child to be abusive, which he became my abuser. The other one, I can't really tell you what he taught him because, I mean, they're all still close to their fathers. Both of them. Very close to their fathers.
Because there is a possibility that there are situations where, although a man may raise a boy to be a man, that man probably lacks some aspects of manhood himself and may actually raise that boy to be a damaged man.
Oh, then that means that it's quite possible for a mother to raise, a woman to raise a man.
No.
It's quite possible.
It ain't possible. Not even quite. Not even a little bit.
Well, we just gave an example of 2 men that were raised by a mother and a father, and they're not doing what the hell they're supposed to be doing.
Right.
So it's obviously possible.
Just because you have parents in the house,
hold on, hot seat. Hold on. Let Katino, are you done? Are you answering?
gonna let this play out.
Well, because I think what you just said, I seen Q making faces and shit. So now, Bravado got his hand out, hoping you tag him the fuck in after what you just said. I think.
I mean, I think they. So I think what I just said was taken out of context. Like that wasn't me saying that.
I was taking out of context. You said what you said.
Like that wasn't me saying that women. That was not me going back and saying that women can raise a man to be a man. What I specifically said is that there are men that were not raised. Going back to what I said earlier in the chat, there you can be a man and not be a man. So if you're a man and not a man, and you're still a boy, and you're out here raising boys, you can't, as a man in that instance, you can't raise that boy to be a man because you're lacking manhood yourself.
But how is that possible if they were being raised by a man at the home?
Because
and their fathers were raised by a man and a woman.
So, all right, so let's take it back to what Mr. Bravado was saying earlier about, you know, the systematic reasons, 50 years of, you know, mass incarceration and lack of men in the household, or even just going back to, I'll say our grandparents. How many, especially in the South, how many grandfathers had, you know, two families, and so they weren't in the house paying attention to their boys to actually effectively raise their boys. I mean, they were men doing a half-ass job themselves of raising their sons, and then those sons turned around and raised sons. Like I could use my own father as an example. Like to this day, all of my aunts will say they love their father to death, but my grandfather did a horrible job raising his boys.
So then who ends up raising them? It becomes the mom. So if that's the case, they're in the house with their mom's born. The mom is raising them.
He just did not do a good job. There were still aspects of manhood that they lacked because he didn't properly teach them those things. But the mom didn't teach them; they still lacked those things. They had to learn those things through trial and error, by going off into the military or by going off and having families of their own, and then realizing where they were making mistakes so that they can improve and be better men.
But the argument on here by most of the men, you and Bravado Network, were saying that the men need to be raising the boys. They would do a better job than a woman. But then now you're saying that they really can't do it effectively because they weren't raised effectively by other men, so that they can't raise their own sons to do that. So that's how I'm like, which one is it?
That's not what he said.
Because even if we unpack it and unpack those layers, if we go back generationally, these are generational persons. Let's go back to the root. What was the root of the lack of the masculinity? I'm not even going to say masculinity. What was the root that caused the lack in this boy raising this father's a certain way? Like two family households don't always mean that you're going to have a great situation. There are a lot of men out here who are womenizers, and to your point, abusers, because that's what they saw their fathers doing.
Wow. So then they end up being raised by a woman and another woman, and they're actually being more successful being raised by women.
I'm not saying that at all.
Tag me. Fuck this. I can't take this shit. Yo, listen. Whatever it is that they're lacking, right? The deficiencies that they have, those deficiencies are guaranteed if they don't have a father, right? So those two men allegedly, because I don't know them and I don't think they got fathers either, had bad fathers. But there's a guarantee if they don't have a father at all.
It's a guarantee that they won't be good men.
They're going to be deficient, right? They're going to be emotional, right? They may do the same things that those men alleged to have done, having bad fathers without a father, period. So that's the point.
Okay.
Tino, all right, now you all right. I just been watching wrestling, nigga. She gave you the 1, 2, 3. You know what I mean? I jumped in the ring. But
anything else you want to ask me or say?
Nah, leave him alone. Leave him alone, goddamn it. I love
somebody
you.
Else up here.
I love both of y'all. Hey, Mr. White, who won this one?
Damn, Tino, man. You name, my boy. Like,
Give him the fucking bitch. Get him out of here.
Yo. All right, man. Anybody else, or can I get to the main event?
Main event. Let's go.
Right, your screen is up there where you looking at?
Yes, up.
Oh, all right. So I'm like, yo, I'm like either bravado cross-eyed or a motherfucker on his screen.
Oh, it's like up and then the camera.
All right, so I appreciate both of y'all for sure. We've been having a little smoky smoke and all that, but I feel like now y'all can go whatever which way you want. But I feel like this right here, I got this from some of y'all sentiments. But I don't want to steer y'all. I just feel like this was like something that was really like a heartburn pain point right here. But go ahead.
Just answer the question.
Well, not talk about what the fuck y'all want to talk about. I got this question right here from both of you guys' commentary from the show and then his recap.
Which question? I'm sorry. Oh,
my bad. It's scrolling. My fault. Can a biological father be replaced by other father figures or Q?
Just to answer that straight out.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Whatever you want to do.
No.
Okay.
Well, yeah, ain't nothing to argue over that because I agree with it. Now, it's actually, this one's a loaded question because my thoughts about the whole father figure situation was about the willingness to make the actual father replaceable, as if that any man can just come in and do the job and it doesn't matter if it's the biological father or not. And that's just, that piece of it is just not true. Now, can a man who come into a situation with a woman with a young boy and provide love, direction, give him the guidance, the tenets that he needs? He absolutely can do that. But there's still going to be something missing in that boy because it's not his actual father. So I believe a man who cares enough can actually, help with the manhood development, but there will always still be something deficient because it's not his father. And a lot of us would have that thought that thought because too many of us are in homes without the father, and there was usually some other man or series of men that came along to try to fill in the gaps, but the father not being there is still something that haunts you, I thought I was going to see my father when he was in his casket. I never had a thought that I would actually meet him. Mm-hmm. And so, so there were multiple men along. When I actually when I actually give the credit to a lot of my settling, I actually started the journey of settling right around the age of 30, but that credit went to two separate men that were not related to me. And they were actual supervisors. Because they actually kept me on when they should have fired me. And these are two black men, because of my behavior, because I was confrontational, because I would pop off, but they saw something. God bless them. I give them a lot of credit, for having the patience to understand what big ball of mess I was, when they were interacting with me on a professional level, and it only takes another black man to kind of understand that when they see somebody with all this talent, all these gifts, but his perception is all over the world because he didn't have that rooted force in his life developing it.
Yeah, I have to say that what it sounds like you're speaking to with that biological parent is that identity piece. And yes. I think that there's something important in that. So when you took my clip, and we're talking about fuck a father figure, fuck a this and that, I'm like, if it ain't the father, then if the mother, let's say, has made a poor decision in her picking, then who? If it's fuck the father figure and fuck the stepfather and fuck everybody else, right? So to your point of, is that male figure going to be able to supplement that identity? Absolutely not, because he's not the biological parent. Right. I don't think there's women out there also champion this idea that I want to have a baby, then I want to eliminate the father altogether and then bring a new nigga in. I don't think people are doing that either. And that was kind of the tone that you came at that with, like, these women are just out here acting out and trying to replace the father with another man.
I did understand that sentiment was out of the notion that that too many of our women have probably made the wrong decision. But And what I probably could have done a little bit better in, to your point, what I could have done a little bit better in is addressing that specifically. Because let's just keep it a buck. We have too many kids out here with not fathers because the mothers have not made appropriate decisions, and the community is left to pick up the pieces with that. So, I mean, I appreciate your whole sentiment about it, because that's just your sentiment around this topic proves how big of a problem we have. The fact that because of the kids that are out here, how many of them are going to be deficient because of that lack of responsible father is not in the home. So I understand why you would think that, especially now. See, I keep hearing the word raising. A woman with love can raise. That can happen. But what we're up here talking about, when a lot of men hear this, we're thinking about development. We're necessarily, raising and development for us are two different things. You can get us to adulthood. There's nothing wrong. That can happen. You can instill some character. You can instill some values, like has been said before. But this development piece, that's something you don't have. And to Mr. White's point is, it takes experience going through that. I thought I was doing a pretty good job up until I ran into a buzzsaw called my father and grandpa. I thought nothing I was doing was wrong. I thought everything and every obstacle, every, pitfall that I've ran into, I thought it was the other person's fault. I never once thought that it was how I was responding to them and responding to the situations and getting them into, and that's another piece, especially because, from a cultural standpoint, this is across all cultures. And I said this at the beginning, the expectation for men is to make a sacrifice that you women are not responsible for making. And so men have to be a certain way because of the level of sacrifice. It's, like I said, the resources, the time, and the life. You are not responsible for, on a cultural and a macro way, you're not responsible for all of those sacrifices. You're not responsible for the success of your family. You're not responsible for that. Now, if you're thrust into the role because of the decisions and the choices, that's one thing. But culturally speaking, you're not responsible for that. But men are. And we have a couple generations of Black men who don't understand the gravity of what that means and how to move because of that. That's just kind of where it is. So I don't think there's a whole lot of, on this end, a whole lot of smoke about it. I think the topic points out the bigger problem was the fact that we got, as a Black culture, we got a whole fucking problem.
Well, I think when you took my clip and used it for your podcasting to make your points, there was a lot of stuff that was missing. So in my situation, I was in a same-sex marriage. And in that marriage, we decided to go through a cryobank to have a child, kind of similar to what the brat did. So in thinking of raising this well-rounded individual for society, that's where that concept of us knowing we were two women, this child is also going to need that male energy, those things that you guys were speaking about that a woman would not be able to provide, that y'all did not want to list. It was understood that, hey, I'm going to be able to do this stuff really, really well. I'm sure of that. But every child needs this. And I don't care if it's a boy or a girl. That was my sentiment. So it wasn't to replace the father, because even in that, it was hard to find the donor, because the donor had to be an open donor so that in years that child could also get tapped in with that identity piece. So all of that was thought about.
Yeah, and you made a point to the fact that the guy that you tapped to try to fill that role, that he lacked a lot of things. And
I didn't choose him.
Okay, well that was chosen. I was just going with the guy that was chosen, and that goes back to the point of, to a degree, a lot of our ladies don't even know how to assess an appropriate level of man to even provide, and are out because you don't know how to assess the quality of a man appropriately, or put what you need to assess the man appropriately, make that number one. Our women are having children with unqualified men, and our culture's littered with children with unqualified men. So even being in a same-sex marriage, which my sister's in, and she's talking about this whole having a kid thing, and we're having this conversation. We're having this very conversation, and it's a difficult one because well, we're not gonna get there, but it's a difficult conversation because I want her to have the family that she wants, you know, and I want her if they end up having a boy, I want to give my sister as many tools as I can to help her with that. But but you bringing up the father figure, in general, our women out here, especially talking about on the dating market, a lot of our women are out here dating with the idea that it doesn't matter what kind of man comes in. It doesn't matter that the father's not there. They often openly say it doesn't matter because, you know, if I just get a better man to come in and they'll take care of all of us. And that's a reckless way of looking at it. And it devalues the father in itself, in the father position. And you know being a mother and being a father, those are the highest honors we can do for one another.
I agree, and I say fuck them bitches. Like that's a weird way to live, and that's weird code to go by. But I would say if I was able to vet that individual, I look at people. I have a cousin that I'm very, very close with. Big alpha male energy. Somebody like that, I would have chosen for a godfather. Somebody like him, I would have chosen for a godfather. But
shit like that.
The nigga that got chosen, I didn't choose that. That was like, oh, the person I was with was friends with this couple, and that's how. Oh, my friends, and I think, and then because she had a husband, whatever, right? Kind of to that point of, oh, I'm observing this guy who's raised in a 2-parent household. He'd be a better person for me to have a child with. The whole time you don't know that. That's also going to be a dead end deal. So I think her intentions were probably good with choosing that couple, but I personally wouldn't have chosen it.
Kevin 3905 with the $5 super chat. There's a lot of effeminate men that don't even know it is because they were raised by women. Some in 2-parent households.
Yeah. Man, hey yo, I got a request, yo. Bravado, I think you need to apologize to Q. Because you had all of this smoke and all of this energy when you want to clip it up. And now you up here being all understanding and agreeing. And so either you came at her wrong. Hold on. I'm talking.
Okay, bro.
So either you came up here and you said either you did it wrong or you jumped to a conclusion to have all of that fire and you jumped the gun a little bit. Cool, but here it's just a totally different thing than what you was putting out there. So I think you owe an apology, man.
Did you not hear the first half of the podcast?
I mean,
tonight. Where were you? I mean, my perspective hasn't changed. But I mean, for me to sit here and so it's one thing when you're doing a reaction and you're not getting the person's feedback during a reaction. You're reacting to what you're seeing. But having interaction, and if you actually listen, which men supposed to do sometimes because we got, it might give you a different understanding. Not that my position has changed. I just understand a little bit more why she has the perspective that she has, and her perspective is a symptom of a larger issue, and that's what I'm being soft about, because when you're thinking about us, our culture in its whole, and the absence of so many fathers in these homes, and the fact that most Black men don't have kids. So
all right, hold on, because you've been repeating yourself with these long stories, saying the same thing over and over, and I don't care. Like, I agree with you. We already know the same point you're gonna make, right? It's the same point you've been making. But my point is, you had all of this fire for her statements, and I get it now, it's different, and it was a reaction. I still listened quite well. So, but you still jumped the gun then, because or you just did it for the show. You see what I'm saying? You picked one thing, you even cut up with what Chief was saying when all Chief was trying to do was give one example. You even attacked him with it too. Oh, why would he even don't worry about it, she's about to cook him. And this is what I'm talking about. Like, you was so just And now it's just, oh yeah, well, yeah, we're having this conversation, and now you're listening to understand. So you're saying that because it was a reaction, it was no point in trying to gain understand for you to gain understanding before you responded, or to get what she fully was saying, because it's just a reaction clip. So that's, you don't have to do that, or like that's cool when it's just a reaction too.
No, to your point. But with the reaction videos, when you're reacting to a video, you're reacting to a point. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And like I said already, and I don't want to keep repeating it, whatever, my position hasn't changed. And when you're doing a reaction video and you want to attack an issue, or you want to go after something somebody says or a position that they have on a reaction video, you don't have the benefit of the back and forth. It doesn't change my position because I didn't have that benefit of that. And it doesn't even change what I thought about what was said during that time. My reaction is based on what was said on that platform at that time. And throughout the first hour and a half of this, that position hadn't changed. Just because I understand a bit after listening to her, listening to the other ladies, you know what I mean? And that I'm thinking about it in the larger context of us, that doesn't mean that somehow I owe her some grand apology because I did something so wrong to her. I didn't do anything wrong to her.
Let me back up.
Well, hold on. Before we're about to chime in, hold on. Because then you tried to say if I would listen. So if you would listen, I never said your position changed. Every time you responded to me, you go back to my position never changed. My position never changed. I never said your position did change. I said, where's the energy at? That's what I'm saying. You had a lot of energy, and maybe hold on, and maybe it's just hold on. I'm not done talking. I'm not done talking. I didn't interrupt you. I didn't. Let me finish my point. And so that's just different, for me, right? Like maybe you got your nice little setup. I'm not a big like podcasty person who just sits behind a camera and flip flop. Like I'm a real regular person, so that I just don't like that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? You came for, and I agree with your points, but again, just the passion and she's talking about this, and the dude just letting her have it. Like, what's wrong with all of them? But then here is yeah, Q, and Q, feel me? That's why she rocking. That's what she came up here expecting. So everybody can. Maybe that's gotta grow in, right? To be able to turn it off and turn it on more, and to know when, okay, you could bring the fire on one point, and then when you actually having a dialogue, okay, pull it back. So maybe that's an area of growth for me.
It might be.
So I'm open to it. I'm probably I know I'm the smartest person up here, but I can humble myself, and I know there's areas for me to grow through. So.
Shit like that.
Wow.
Hey, it's a matter of style. Yes, I have fire, energy, and passion all through the beginning of this, but also during one of my tenets is, we can have these debates, but to what end? Right. And so if my personal perspective on things is to what end, or my goal is to what end, I can have all the fire and passion about disagreeing on a point, but the moment someone starts to try to articulate their perspective, I can't keep pounding her with or anyone, or even you or anybody, with all of that energy all the time.
Wow.
You gotta listen.
Hold on, Bravado. Hold on. Hey, Mr. Bravado, can you clarify that? What you mean by pound, Mr. White?
No, he's talking about Q. He said Q.
He said Mr. White too. I just need to get some clarity. I don't want nobody to
like that. Shit like that.
Oh boy. Boss man, can I get the super chat?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Mr. Britt with a $2 super chat. Mr. White with the smoke for Bravado.
Hold on, we got one more, Chief. Hold on, let me find it. Oh.
Kevin 3905 with a $5 super chat. Appreciate you, Slim. Give Mr. White a 5-minute timeout. He wrong.
No, hey, yo, get him in the fucking bedroom. Get him out of here.
Real quick though. I wanted to. So maybe my EQ kicked in. I'm listening to y'all right now, and honest to God, before you said something, Mr. White, I was actually gonna salute Mr. Bravado because he sat back for a minute. And he heard Q out, and he said, "I probably could have done a better job at addressing it a little better." So he reflected on his shit and owned it. Whether the apology is needed, I don't know, but he definitely heard her and reflected on the shit. And in my head, I'm like, that's an essence of manhood. Sitting there, getting told your point, eating that shit, and having that. But then you, in the same token, like essence of man, like, nah, nigga, I'm about to check you now that you get away with this shit. So, so both replications of essences of manhood. You dig what I'm saying? Is that inaccurate of me to say? Is that not something you would apply to manhood?
I think that was fair. And holding one to task. Let me tell you something. If I hadn't done the work, my interaction with Mr. White would have went all the way left. And so that's what I'm talking about, because that's how I was raised to take no shit. But having 15 years of two sagey old men in my life now that are genetically, tied to me, made me, gave me better tools to interact with men the way I need to. We talk about this, or Kevin Samuelsons talk about this all the time, that a lot of men today do not know how to interact with each other. We're actually quite awkward with one another because we don't know how to interact with one another appropriately. And that stuff needs to be taught. I mean, and then how do you tell a 35 or 40-year-old dude that he got to go back and learn how to talk to a man?
Shit, talk to a woman. Because, fuck off. No, listen.
I talked to my mama. Y'all niggas yelled at me for that shit.
I told him to put me back in.
You feel me, Ish?
Q, I think you make a good point, though. I don't know if you're talking about a woman, like, in the context of the conversation that we've been talking about, but I was actually just sitting here thinking, as the two gentlemen were discussing, when you're dating men, you can, the same way Hamp was saying, like when you go on the football field and he's coaching the boys and he can tell which of the boys were not raised with a man or didn't have a masculine presence, a man in the house. You can tell the same thing when you're dating a man, that he did not have a man in the house, or he didn't have a man around. And I'm wondering if men are receptive. Well, I know you're not receptive to that, but I'm gonna ask a different question. I'm wondering if men can also tell when women have not had a father or a man in the house when you're dating them.
Yeah. 100%. Yep.
Yeah,
Or if he was like I don't know, like you could tell. You know how you could tell real shit? It's gonna sound like I'm joking. Her teeth.
What?
Not that ass. When I was outside, I'm like, yo, you got a dad, don't you? Why you say that? Your teeth straight as a motherfucker. Real shit.
Like that.
Really?
Yo,
what the fuck?
no dad is gonna let their daughter teeth look crazy, bro. I don't care what nobody says. That's a priority. That ass. Yo.
Everybody doesn't need braces, Hamp. Like maybe she just already.
Huh?
Can't be telling facts because my dad stayed on us about dentist appointments.
I used to snore, man. I already know the vibe.
Now that you mention it, my dad is the orthodontist.
Yo, put him in the fucking bedroom. Get him out of here. Come on.
John the Baptist with the $5 super chat. Mr. White, in the debate, you don't bring energy, you bring intelligence. John the Baptist with another 5 ball. Mr. White, in the debate, you don't bring energy, you bring ideas to exchange.
But I bring both. Yo, tell John the Baptist come up.
No, we don't need that no more. We had all that yesterday.
John ain't been watching.
All right, my bad.
So wait, Q, you was trying to get in again? What you was trying to say?
I'm saying, fuck all that nice shit that Chief was saying. Mr. Bravado, because you know what? And I don't usually agree with this nigga, Mr. White, because he do be bringing a lot of energy. Sometimes I'll be saying feminine energy, but I'm gonna leave that alone. Listen. Wow. We're gonna keep it a buck. Bruh. You know what? You came for me hard with stuff that you didn't understand about my story. And so the apology would be warranted with that, because you had a chance today to listen to me directly and say, oh, my sister, I got a sister that's with the little the LGBTQ stuff. Okay, all right. So we sitting here, we sipping brunch. Or eating brunch and sipping tea and shit, and you on the same page with me, but you wasn't having that kind of energy. You was like, fuck all that shit. Listen to what this bitch saying. Fuck a father figure. Fuck this. Fuck that. And then it's like, yo, but I got a whole backstory that you gave no reference to. So on that part, yeah, I don't give a fuck about you agreeing with me. That's some Adrian shit. That's some Mr. White shit. He needs to be agreed with. That's where the apology will be warranted. But I'm saying do it in your own time because I only accept sincere apologies. But yeah, that's it. That's all. That's the post.
Hey, this how you know. You see, Q be coming for me crazy, but I stand for what's right and true. That's why I'm the judge on who wins.
What's crazy?
And I'm 3-0 tonight. I'm 3-0 tonight.
You absolutely was riding for Q.
Ass, and I kicked Bravado ass. I'm 3-0 tonight.
Shit like that. Shit like that.
For the money. You know what I'm saying? Y'all catch me in August, man.
I don't know if I agree with that.
Mr. White, I'll give you a participation trophy because I'm in y'all house tonight, so ain't no problem.
Wow.
God damn, man. Bro, I ain't trying to start no more beef and shit, but Mr. Bravado was on your ass last night about some of that political if you know, you know.
Mr. Ham, we gonna look. She was excellent on this stream, so we gonna give her some grace and mercy over that. I actually have good feelings towards her right now.
We're gonna keep it there
tonight. So we're gonna just, you know what? We'll just say that's just part of her little court. She don't believe in voting. We'll leave it at that's her little court. Her man.
Listen. I said I tell everybody I'll go on your show, and Hamp is my agent. Just pay the contract, and I will be there.
Yo, man, hell yeah!
We're gonna be doing a political show because we're gonna be asking the question: should black men sell their vote? So yeah, I'll hit you up for that.
Yes, hit my agent up and Hamp, and just. Give him the money.
Shit like that. Shit like that. Shit like that.
Give me my cash app.
I give you thanks, appreciation, virtual flowers.
Word. What you about to say, Mr. White?
Didn't Rose say she don't date black men who vote?
I didn't say that. Y'all always be messing up the story. That is not what I said.
Nisha, did she say that?
About not dating black men ever.
No, men who vote.
I didn't say men who vote either.
Isha, did she say that? Let me ask Isha. Isha, no.
I think it was more so about the political party than who votes.
I think she cleaned it up yesterday, but a month ago, she sure as hell said what she said.
I didn't say that.
Yeah, look at Dana's face. Go ahead with the bobblehead, Dana.
You know if Asia was up here. Damn, man. Interesting. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend. Hit that like button right now if you can. It helps the channel the most. Hey, man, y'all did a hell of a job tonight, man. Give yourself a round of applause, man. Good shit. Think, hey, Tino, man, put some ice on them cuts Nate gave you.
You've been doing so good. You the bag.
Hey, you know what it is, Tino, though? We do this shit every week, man. When you don't do this shit every week, sometimes your thoughts be right here, but then they don't come out. Like
it didn't come out the way that it should have came out.
And then you know what else? If you stutter once, it's like battle rap. If you stutter, everybody like, oh, put him in the bathroom, get him out of here. Like, you can't stutter or nothing. And Miss Nate was real reserved tonight. Usually she be on her loud shit.
I ain't had no red wine tonight. I had
oh, that's what it was.
like that.
I knew it was something. Damn, man. Hey, man, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Listen, man. Like, share, subscribe once again. Tell a friend. Hit all the links in the description if you can. Check out directioncyop.com. Check out the merch from This Might Be Risky. Definitely subscribe to the Apple Podcast. It comes out every morning as long as Alex on her shit Monday at 5 a.m. Every time she go to Punta Cana or some shithole trip, she always miss a Monday. But if she home, I promise that she gonna do her job. I'm definitely gonna put all the links in. I'm gonna put Rado's network in there. I gotta put Chief shit in there, Q shit in there. Everybody who doing the right thing in our community, I'm putting their shit in there. Tino got some shit that's gonna change the world coming out, but I ain't gonna spill the beans. But when it's open, I'm gonna put that shit in there too. You feel me? We gotta support each other, man. Point blank. I don't really fuck with Jerry Springer, but I do like one of his constructs. Dana, final thought.
I just want to leave this panel and go thank my daddy for my straight teeth. That's the first time. But no, in all seriousness, we definitely need our fathers. Only men can raise men. Only women can raise women. It goes both ways. There's I don't usually like to agree with the men so much, but they were really spot on, I think. So, but at the end of the day, we all need each other.
Word. Tino.
Men, let's raise our boys to be good men. Raise our boys to be healthy men, positive men.
Word. Isha.
A male presence is definitely needed in the household. If the energy is not good, you got to get rid of it and find something else, put in role model or something.
Word. Chief.
Salute to the panel. I thought tonight's conversation was super dope, yo. Super dope. I stand firm in being a well-rounded man raised by his mama. Did she teach me everything there is to know about manhood? Of course not. Absolutely not. But the foundation is solid as fuck. And someone in the comment referred to me as a mama's boy. And I stand firm in that as well. But I'm a mama's boy with boundaries. So, whole lot.
Word. Bro.
The importance of a father is about his presence in the household and his active presence, not just his physical body.
Word. Real bravado.
First of all, I want to thank the entire crew for inviting me up for this conversation. I think you guys have some very good thought-provoking topics and encourage the debate and the discussion. If anything, we need to continue to have these conversations. I don't know if people out there understanding, but Black culture, Black families, we're on life support. And we need to continue to dig at these topics, even if we disagree with them, even if we think each other are wrong on them, we need to find a way to make a new deal with each other. Yep. Thanks a lot for everybody for letting me come up, chop it up with y'all.
Word. Miss Nay.
Nobody's out here discrediting men in the home. They should be. Women can and do raise men, but help is welcome. And shout out to Q for helping me to raise my boys when these Negroes were not doing it. And Bravado Network, get some background before you try to come for anybody on the panel.
Word. Mr. White.
Yo, shout out to Bravado. Definitely great content, great interaction. You took your L like a champ. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to you. Q, even with the shot, you ain't take your L like a champ, but you seldomly do, but you know what it is. Chief, I'm highly disappointed in you, but you took an L. Tino, I don't know what you was talking about, bro. I don't know how you take an L in that. That is, I don't know what you was thinking, bro. But maybe it's like Hemp said, you just haven't been up here enough, or what, couldn't articulate the point, so we'll give you a pass. But absolutely, man, a father is irreplaceable. We definitely are needed. And as a community, we don't need to forget it, right? Definitely do the work that you need to do, but let's stop trying to make each other so obsolete, because all that's going to lead is to us just pushing each other away like more and more and more. So a father is needed. He can't be replaced. A woman can't do what we do ever.
Or Q.
Like I said before, y'all can't do what I can do. All right, so that don't apply to everybody. Y'all should already know the vibes. I'm me. You feel me? I'm really tight right now. You niggas got me out here with a whole wardrobe change and shit. You know what I mean? I came for all the smoke. Mr. Bravado, you didn't provide it. You changed the energy. I told you to keep that same energy. That's neither here nor there. Just know that I'm going to be watching your show going forward. And shout out to Mr. White. I was going to say Mr. White for president shirts coming next week, but then the nigga tried to come for me, so fuck him.
Word. Damn, man.
The super chat. There you go.
Yeah, I got you. One time for the one time. Oh, the panel is cooking tonight. Y'all see it? There you go. Gary S. Hey, Gary always comes through, man. Appreciate you, bro. Great show indeed. Damn. Real Bravado dropped the big one, man. Pause.
Wow. You always got to bring some peach cobbler to the cookout. So,
yeah, nah, real shit, man. Good gracious. You want to come back next week?
Shit like that.
Oh, man, I humbly appreciate it, man. Good grease, man. This was dope. A lot of perspectives for sure. I think we need to agree on these points, though. A woman cannot raise a man cannot raise a woman. And then when we say that out loud, it brings more value to the other party, the other side. When we continuously say, oh, we can do what each other can do and vice versa, we devalue each other. It makes no sense. So I think it's better to bite the bullet for the whole, right? And I think we'll make better progress like that. Just because we have been decently successful, or so we perceive, right? Imagine what we could be if we did it the right way, right? So don't use Catino being uberly successful, Bravado, Mr. White, and Chief, and say, see? No, don't say see. Say, whew, thank God, right? Because if you go to the jails, all them motherfuckers only got a mom too. If you look at all the IEPs, all them slow motherfuckers only got a mom too. All right. So I'm just telling you, like, yo, let's make sure we really, really understand what it is that we doing here. Real shit. I don't think you can say that word no more. So I caught myself. But like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, tell a friend, and we out.